Hey guys, how's it going? We're going to kick off in just a couple moments. All right, welcome. My name is Rich Stauffer. I'm PSP fitness instructor, CFP Edmonton, and today we are going to do a general strength and conditioning workout. Okay, so just be sure to check out the disclaimer in the description below. For your safety, make sure that you consult your doctor, check out the PARQ, all that stuff that will again be in that description below. We're going to do a strength and conditioning class today. I won't be playing any music. My fan just shut off, so that noise you guys were hearing is hopefully gone. Make sure, again, you're going to play your own music, bring a little bit of, get yourself a bottle of water to drink, and we will start things off. We're going to begin with a little bit of a warm-up. Okay, so to start off, we're going to get into a nice little general stretch. I do this particular stretch pretty much all my classes here. I've just changed my camera, so I'm just going to adjust my angle just a little bit. There we go. There, now you can see a little bit more what's going on. So what we're going to start with is I'm going to get you guys to lunge forward with that right leg. Left leg is back. I'm going to get you to squeeze the glute on that backside and push the hips forward, just like this right here. Should feel a nice stretch in the front of that back leg. From here, you're going to look over that forward leg, just like this. Trying to square the shoulders up to the wall. If my hips are square here, my shoulders should be square on this other wall here. And take a nice exhale there. From there, send that arm up in the air, nice stretch throughout the lat. Oh, one thing I should have mentioned before, 2 dumbbells, that's what you're looking to use for this particular class. So 2 light, relatively light dumbbells is all you need. I have 15s over there. Nice exhale in this position here. Both hands down, hop the back leg towards the wall behind you. Nice exhale there. Inside arm goes up towards the ceiling. And to the outside of the foot, toes come up. And push back in a nice little hamstring stretch. If you're having trouble with this one, you can also just leave that back knee on the floor and get into that stretch just like that. That's fine. Good. Same thing on the other side. Right leg back, push the hips forward. Nice stretch to the front of that right hip. Looking over that forward leg. Hand goes up. Nice little stretch throughout the lat there. Going all the way down into the hip. Hands down. Pop that back leg towards the wall behind you. Nice little stretch for the front of the back leg, back of the front leg. Drop that elbow down if you really need to feel a stretch. Then you're going to reach that hand up towards the ceiling. Hand goes the outside of the foot. Now we're going to push back into that hamstring stretch again. If you want to, you can drop down and let that knee go on the floor. Awesome. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to do a hamstring squat stretch. So feet slightly wider and shoulder width apart. I'm going to take my hands, drop down into a squat, just like that right here. So I've got my squat stretch. Use my elbows to push my knees apart. And you're going to drop down, looking between your legs. Back in into that squat stretch. Exhale. In that hamstring stretch. We're going to do one more time. We'll slowly come up out of that. Good. So from here, we're going to do a stretch from a standing position. You can do this one on the ground as well, just so you guys can kind of see what I'm doing. You can do this face down on the ground, but I'm going to do it up here just to make sure everybody's all on the same page. What I'm going to do is, again, you can do this laying flat on the ground. I'm going to push my hips back, and I'm going to drop my chest, keeping my back relatively flat. Okay, and again, just so you can see what I'm doing here, you're going to make a couple of different shapes with your arms. I'm going to cycle this through 3 times each, okay? So first I'm going to make a Y shape, arms are going to come back, I'm going to make a T shape, then I'm going to make a W shape, okay? So looking at that from the side, what we're going to do, again, back nice and flat, push the hips backwards, make that Y, T, W, just like that. Y, T, W. I'm trying to keep my thumbs pointed up at the ceiling the whole time, squeezing between my shoulder blades, okay? And if you didn't quite get that one, that's okay. We're going to do this whole thing another time here, okay? So now we're going to get a little bit of some core stability stuff going, just make sure that core is fired up. So we're going to do some plank work, okay? So we're going to start off, we're going to hold a plank from a high plank position, and all we're going to do is we're going to lift one leg 1 or 2 centimeters off the floor. We're not ripping that leg way, way back. What I want you guys to focus on is as you're holding that plank position, you are squeezing the glute on that leg that's lifting, and that is what's lifting that hip up. You're not arching your back. Your core is relatively still. If I were to cover up kind of your hips if I was looking at you, I would cover up your hips with my hand. I should see your shoulders not really move much at all. So we're going to give that a try. We're going to do 5 reps on each side. So I'm in my high plank position here. I'm just lifting up. It's 2 reps already. 1 on each side. 3, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10. Awesome. Next thing we're going to do, very similar idea, but this time I'm going to do a shoulder tap, okay? So I'm going to do a rep. We're just going to go with 3 of those on each side because it's slightly more difficult. I'm going to encourage you guys, if this is your first time doing this or you know it's a particularly difficult exercise for you, go fairly wide with your feet. It's going to be more difficult if your feet are closer together and easier if your feet are a little wider. So I'm going to start wide. This is just a warm up. I don't need to really challenge myself yet. I just got to remind those muscles around my core to do their job. So, relatively wide, and I'm going to switch. It's 2, that's 3. All right, good. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to go right back into that world's greatest stretch, that first stretch that we did, to continue warming up. Okay, so this time I'm going to go with my right leg forward first. Left leg's back, squeeze the glute on that back side, push hips forward, just like that. I'm going to look over that forward leg. Nice stretch for the front of my hip. Send that hand up. Very nice. Goes back. Hand goes up towards the ceiling. Around to the outside of the foot, toes come up, shove back into a nice little hamstring stretch. All right, same thing on the other side. Hip comes forward, looking over that forward leg. Nice long exhale there. Hand goes up. Elbow doesn't need to be totally locked out, but relatively straight. It's great. So both hands down just like this. Back leg goes towards the wall behind you. Hand goes up towards the ceiling. Ideally palm facing forward. That should be okay though. Toes come up. You do a nice little hamstring stretch. Good. Okay, we're going to go back into that squat stretch once again 3 times. feet slightly wider, shoulder width apart. We're going to squat down, shove those elbows out to push those knees apart. We're going to exhale into a nice hamstring stretch. Back into that squat stretch. Nice exhale into the hamstring stretch. Squat stretch one more time. All right, so this time I'm going to do that YTW stretch for the prone position. Once again, as I'm on my stomach here, I'm going to lift up, squeezing from behind my shoulders, just below my shoulders to get those arms up, and I'm not going to be arching my back a whole bunch. I am going to be keeping my core relatively stable and trying to really move from the shoulders as much as possible. Once again, this time I'm going to be doing it on the ground. So I'm just going to do it 3 times each. So I'm going to make my Y, arms come down, make that T, elbows come in, W, Y, T, W, one more time, Y, T, and W. Good. Just going to make sure my camera's doing what it's supposed to be. Perfect. Good. And Scott's over there giving me my little disclaimer below. Okay, good. We're going to go into the plank with the toe lift. Again, we're going to hold that toe lift for a solid second, and we're only going to do it 3 times instead. Okay, so 3 times on each side. Okay, so lift the toe. Awesome, one more time on each side. I don't remember what side I started with, so I'm going to go with this one. Good. Then you go straight into that shoulder. Tap. One more. Good. Okay, so what we're going to do now, I'm sweating a little bit, so I'm starting to get warm, but I'm going to get a little bit of a general kind of warm up. Just to kind of get the blood pumping. I'm going to keep the reps relatively low and cycle through the exercises quite quickly. So I'm going to start off with some push-ups. I'm just going to do 3, then some full sit-ups. If you prefer crunches, that's totally fine. We're just going to do 3 of those. We're going to do 10 air squats, and we're going to do 3 step-back lunges on each side, okay? So this is just kind of to get the blood pumping a little bit, nice little circuit. We're just going to do this 3 times through, pardon me, just to kind of get the blood pumping a little bit if it's not already there. So let's start off once again, 3 push-ups, 3 sit-ups, 6 air squats, so just squats with your body weight, and we're going to do some step-back lunges. So start off with our push-ups. You can go from your knees or from your toes. I'm going to go from my toes. I'm going to switch immediately into my sit-ups. Awesome. Straight into my air squats. Do 6 of those. Chest stays relatively upright. Keep those heels flat. And then I'm going to go right into some step back lunges. Knee doesn't need to touch the floor. Softly touching the floor is fine, or keeping it 1 inch off the floor is great too. I'm going to go right into my push-ups. This one I'm going to keep my legs straight, but you can do whatever style of sit-up you want. It's just 3 reps, and it's just to get you warm. Make sure you shove those knees out a little bit. Track straight over top of the toes. Awesome. Step back lunges. I'm starting to warm up myself. Hopefully you are too. One more each leg. All right, one more round of this circuit. All right. 3 more squats. Step back lunges. Whew, just like that, I'm warm. Grab a quick sip of water, and I'll explain the next circuit. All right, so once again, we are doing a dumbbell circuit. Obviously, I'm at the gym, I got access to lots of different dumbbells. For you guys, we're gonna do some step back lunges. I like to use step back lunges or even a split squat, which I'll show both of. It's a nice little leg strength building thing, especially when I have fairly limited equipment, okay? So because we're doing more of a strength style thing, we're gonna do just 3 sets of between 6 and 12 reps per leg, okay? That might be fairly high reps for what weight you have available at home if you're doing this at home, or it might be right on the money, so you can kind of decide for yourself. I've got my 15-pound dumbbells there. I'm going to start out with those. I'm going to hold them by my sides. Depending on what you have for weight, you can rack it up front. You could, if you wanted to use dumbbells or kettlebells, say you have just one kettlebell, I like to hold up the front rack on the opposing leg, on the leg that's, I should say, forward with the other leg back. Whatever you want to do to get these done, I'm going to show with a couple of different pieces of equipment. I'm going to start out with my dumbbells, and then I'm going to show with a kettlebell and then a plate as well, just so you guys can kind of get an idea of what you might do differently if you have a little bit of different equipment. But again, this workout's meant to be done primarily with just the 2 dumbbells, okay? So we're going to start out with the step back lunge, okay? So I'm going to start out with my feet around hip width apart, okay? And the dumbbells in my hands, again, you can rack them like this. If you only have access to one dumbbell, racked up here, this front support position, or in a goblet position also works. Okay, so standing straight up just like this, feet pointing forward, all we're going to do is I'm going to do 6 reps on my left side, then 6 reps on my right side, okay? Just like this, keeping the chest relatively upright. Knees track over top of the toes, stepping back. Good, so 6 on my right, I'm going to do 6 on my left. Last one. Awesome, okay. So for me, that was a combined 30 pounds there. 6 reps was pretty easy, relatively easy. So based on your first set, you might do your next set and your subsequent sets a little bit differently. What I'm going to show you guys next is if you have access to just like, you know, something heavy like a rock or a plate or something like that, that's what we're going to show it to you next. So for my next set, I'm just going to use a plate. Because the goal of this particular section of the class is a little bit of lower body strength, we are keeping the reps relatively low. If again you've got a lighter load, you're finding it a little easier, you can do a couple more reps that I'm doing. But for my purposes here, again, the 30 pounds for 6 reps on each leg, relatively easy, pretty doable. So this time I'm going to do 8 reps on each side. Still, you know, relatively in that, you can definitely gain a little bit of strength doing 8 reps, a little bit on the higher rep range, but again, if that's all you have for weight, that's fine. But this time we're going to hold that plate up nice and high on the chest in potentially a couple of different ways, and we'll get going on that right away. Again, because we're going after strength, we don't just want to do our lunges, set it down, jump right back into our set. We want to give our leg a little bit of chance to recover before we jump into the next set. So now that I've blah, blah, blah for a couple seconds, I need to keep this plate nice and close to my body just like this. I'm squeezing my shoulder blades back so my plate's pressing into my body like this. And once again, I'm not putting it down so low that my legs are going to get in the way. It's relatively high on my chest, and I'm going to step back. And once again, I'm doing 8 reps. So you might notice with this one, especially if you're using a plate or anything up against your chest, cut down my breathing a little bit, so I'm going to take a short breather between my right side and my left side. I already felt with that extra 15 pounds, a little bit more of a burn in my quad. Felt a little more difficult for sure. Potentially because of even where the plate was in the body. Since it was right loaded up front, I was loading that right and front leg up a little bit more. So let's try 8 reps on the other side. Whew. That did the job. 8 reps just like that. Well done. So that's our next set done. Not too bad for the 8 reps with 45 pounds. Definitely just having the weight a little more forward. I felt like I loaded my quad a little bit more. So I'm going to give you one more option. Again, if you got the 2 dumbbells, as was intended with the workout, keep on working with those. And I'm going to go grab a kettlebell. Actually, I'll grab a kettlebell, and then I'll show you how to load it up, if that's all you have as well. So again, because the focus of this first little bit of the class is a little bit of strength, taking a little bit of a rest between the exercise is definitely a good idea. You know, if you're doing a heavy barbell workout, you might give yourselves as much as 3 to even 5 minutes between sets. We're not quite going that far. It's a little bit more specialized strength work. Definitely for a lot of people, you can increase our strength by keeping our rest periods to 1 to 2 minutes kind of thing, like we're doing right here. But because of, again, the idea here is we're going into a little more limited equipment. We're not going to be able to go quite that heavy, which is why instead of doing a heavy back squat right now, we'll break it down to single legs, so we require a little bit less equipment. Okay, so I've got a 70-pound kettlebell here, and I'm going to lift it and use it in kind of a goblet squat position. Lots of people like to kind of load the goblet squat a little bit differently. I'm going to show you what my preference is. Again, this way tends to have the weight a little bit more forward, which will help you feel that forward leg doing the work a little bit more. So how I'm going to load this, swing it up, nice and high up on the chest, and I'm going to lunge back. Let's go with 8 reps again. Two more. Whew. Yeah, that's heavier. Definitely felt that extra 30 pounds on there. Went from the 45-pound plate to the 70-pound kettlebell. Very important if you're focusing on a little bit of strength like we are for the first bit of this class to make sure you don't rush through the movement too much. Whew. Put me out of breath a little bit. Definitely can, again, just like the plate, having it high up on the chest, a little bit of pressure on the chest. Can reduce the volume of those lungs a little bit and make those lungs work harder to fill up, so get you a little out of breath. But without taking too big of a break, I'm going to do my last 8 reps on my left leg. That's 3. That's a little bit of strength work for today. Take a little bit of a breather. I'm going to get rid of my kettlebell. And we're going to get into a little bit of a dumbbell complex. For my first round here, I'm going to go relatively light with my 15 pounds. If, you're have lighter weight, or maybe you're stronger than me, feel free to up or down the weight as required. If you only have 35 pounds, you can definitely do this, but you want to make sure that you're not trying to do as many reps as me. You want to keep the form relatively clean. The idea, this is a fairly long dumbbell complex, The idea is to hold on to the dumbbells, at least one of them, until the complex is done, okay? So if you have a little bit of a, say you have an adjustable dumbbell set or you've got a variety of weights, start conservative on this one for the first set, and then if you need to increase the amount of weight, feel free to do that. Or say you stick with the reps that I recommend up front. If that seems too easy, you can do more reps, or again, put a little bit more weight at it. Or if it's too difficult, you notice yourself swing the dumbbells around a little too much, then I want you to drop the weight, or drop the reps, I should say, make it a little bit more achievable rep scheme. So to start, I'm just going to get right into the circuit here. We are going to do a hammer curl. Okay, so for the hammer curl, shoulders stay back, nice and slow, and we're going to do 10 reps. And because we didn't do enough step back lunges, we are going to do step back lunges. We're going to do 10 reps each side, pardon me. Halfway there. Two more. Finish it up. Whew, there we go. So from here, I'm going to get my dumbbells up, and I'm going to do alternating press, 5 each side. All right, don't set those dumbbells down. Next thing we're going to do is some forward lunges. So we just lunge backwards, now we're going forwards. 10 each leg. Starting to get my heart rate up. Okay, so we're going to do a lunge position. We're going to set one dumbbell down. I'm going to take my opposite arm, doesn't have a dumbbell in it. Get into a lunge position, flatten my back out, drop my chest as much as I can, drive that elbow up. Squeezing between the shoulder blades on each rep. Keep it nice and simple. 10 reps on each side. Other side. Drive my elbow up nice and high. Back relatively flat. Halfway, 5 more. All right. Okay, next up, I'm going to do a press out of a lunge, okay? So how it's going to work, dumbbells up nice and high, I'm going to step back, I'm going to press. Other side, press again. Ten reps total, 5 on each side. Finish it up. Awesome. Whoops, stepping down my dumbbells. We're not quite done yet. We're doing some dumbbell thrusters. 10 reps. Last one. Good. Now, lucky you can drop a dumbbell up on the chest here. Goblet squats. Chest stays up nice and high, just like that. Halfway there. All right. So now, take this one-handed opportunity, wipe my face off a little bit. We're going to do some Romanian deadlifts. So feet hip-width apart, shoulders back, soft bend in the knee, push those hips back, and come up. Because this one's a little lighter, we're doing 20. Back stays flat, you're reaching as far down as you can. Feeling those hamstrings stretch at the bottom. As soon as you're as far as you can go without your back moving. Before your back moves, send those hips forward. Squeeze your butt at the top. Over halfway done. 9 left. 8 left. Keep it up. Keep those shoulders back. Back stays flat. 4 more reps. 3, 2, finish it up. 1, awesome. Last thing, standing calf raise. Dumbbells stay where they are, feet hip width apart. Just doing calf raises, just like this. You want to be a hero, do them on your stairs. That's okay, you go right ahead. Not doing them super fast or super slow. Keeping a nice even tempo. Should be around 10 reps, 11 reps. Should be around halfway. Squeeze those calves at the top. Should be about 10 reps left. Count them down. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and done. Good job, guys. Whew. That was a little dicey. Good work. We're going to give it about 90 seconds, and we're going to do the whole thing again. So take a little breather, about a minute and a half, and we're going to do the whole thing one more time. 2 more times, actually. But we're going to focus on one more time first. So while we're taking a little breather here, I'm going to do a couple of technique pointers for a couple of different movements, and you can decide if you like the amount of reps you are doing for each movement, okay? So I'm going to go down the list, just give you 1 or 2 things to concentrate for each movement. By the time I'm done that, it'll be time for us to start over, okay? So for the standing hammer curls, I want you guys to just think about keeping those elbows more or less fixed in place and not swinging your arms all over the place, okay? We're not skiing or pulling or anything like that. That's the first thing. Next thing, the alternating shoulder press. When we're doing that one, I want you guys to keep your abs on nice and tight. A soft bend in the knee is just fine for that one. And one arm goes up. And then the other, I want you guys to focus on not letting the elbow drop back, okay? Next thing we're gonna do for the standing forward lunge, 10 each leg. We are going to come forward. As you're coming forward, I want you to let those arms swing forward, okay? Keep that chest relatively vertical. So again, arms stay more or less down by your sides. Momentum's gonna want them to go forward. You're gonna squeeze the lats a little bit in the back of the shoulder, keep them from going forward. Okay, for the bent over alternating row, or not alternating row, sorry. For the bent over row, you're gonna drop that chest down as low as you can. Your back doesn't have to be totally perpendicular to the floor, but I'd rather be at least a little bit less than 45 degrees. So this is 45 degrees. I'm not doing my row like this. I'm dropping that chest down, keeping that back nice and flat, at least 45 degrees. For the step back lunge with the overhead press, really try to make sure that when you step back into that lunge, your knee is close to the floor, okay? As I do this one, I've definitely noticed my first rep stays pretty good. By the time we get to my last rep, barely bending that back knee. Make sure you bring it nice and close to the floor, okay? For the dumbbell thruster, try to keep those elbows locked in place at the very bottom. As you change directions, they're going to want to slam into those knees. Keep them off your knees, okay? For the Romanian deadlift, just like I mentioned during the exercise, back stays flat, knees are soft bend, and you're going to focus on feeling those hamstrings at the bottom. As soon as you feel that good hamstring stretch, then you come up, okay? And for the calf raise, just make sure not to rush through them too much. I don't want you to be slamming your heels into the floor. You can come up and down, okay, with a relatively controlled pace. All right, that's definitely more than 90 seconds because you know I like to talk, so we're going to get right into this, okay? We're going to start out with those hammer curls. Go ahead, 10 reps. Remember, if last round was too hard, maybe you do a couple less than 10, maybe you just do 8s this round for everything. If it's too easy, maybe you throw down some 12s. I'm halfway. All right, alternating press, 10 reps each. Should be halfway. Already getting a shoulder burn? And sweat in my eyes. I must be working out. Okay, step back lunge, or forward lunge, pardon me. Just like that, we're all done those. Okay, we're gonna do that row now. Single arm. Again, as close to the floor as possible with the chest without rounding the back. That's 10. Switch sides. Drive that elbow up at the top. Half second squeeze at the top is always a good thing. All right, step back lunge with a press, 10 reps total, 5 lunges each side. Let's go. Good work, guys. Almost lost that last one. Whoops. Dumbbell thrusters. Almost skipped my thrusters. How could I? Halfway. Give the shoulders a break. Some goblet squats. Or the front rack like this. That's fine. Whew. Okay, RDLs. Remember, back nice and flat the whole time. 20 reps. Five reps left. 4, 3, 2, last one. 1. Good. Okay, calf raises. Halfway. Keep the shoulders back. 7 left. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you're done. Whew. Dumbbells down. Take a little breather. Whew, as I figure out what to do with the rest of our time. I'm a little bit behind schedule. I was hoping to get through this 3 times. So what we're going to do is we're still going to get done 3rd time. We're going to take a very short rest between this one and the next one. And we're going to do half reps, okay? So we're doing 10 bicep curls. We're just going to do 5 this time. Everything we're doing, we're going to go half reps. But if we are, say we've got it uneven, so we're doing 5 reps on each side, we're going to do just slightly more than that. So we can get, say, like 3 reps on each side, so we even out the legs. We're going to start that in about 15 seconds. Just to make sure we have time for the little conditioning bit at the back end. I know you guys love conditioning, so we're going to make sure we stick that back bit in. And luckily for that, we can say goodbye to our dumbbells. After, using them one more time. So we're just going to do 5 curls. Awesome. Just like that. We're doing presses. We're doing 10 on each side. We're just doing 5 on each side now. 4 and 5 and 5. Good. Okay, next thing is those lunges. We're doing 5 on each side. All right, okay, next thing is that row. Drop one of my dumbbells. Awesome. Whew. Go through these quick. Step back lunge and the overhead press. 3 on each side. Whew. Dumbbell thrusters. 5 reps. Goblet squats. Romanian deadlifts, just 10 reps. Once again, shoulders back, back stays flat. Don't rush to the bottom. Oh, you can hurry up a little bit on the way up. One more, two more, pardon me. There we go. Okay, calf raises. Whew, just like that, say goodbye to your dumbbells. Rest of the workout is body weight. Take 1 second breather here, and we're gonna get into the next thing. Whew. All right, so last thing we're gonna do is a little conditioning piece here. You can feel free to modify it as required. The idea is that each movement itself doesn't fatigue you too much, okay? So I'm gonna start with 5 burpees, then I'm gonna do some mountain climbers. I'm gonna do 10 of those, just 5 on each side though, so just 5 reps if some people feel like, some people like to use it that way. I'm gonna stand up, and I'm gonna do 15 air squats, okay? So I've chosen these movements because they can, obviously with burpees, they're not a super quick cycle, but we're only doing a couple of reps. Air squats, you can cycle those pretty quickly. And with, same thing with the mountain climbers, okay? So we're doing 5 burpees, 10 mountain climbers total, so 5 reps on each side, and 15 air squats, so 5, 10, 15. If you notice you're starting to really suffer in the workout, feel free to drop each by kind of a third, okay? So you could do, you know, like 4, not even by a third, by just by a rep or 2. So you could do 4 and then 8 and then say 12 or 13 air squats. Okay, so feel free to reduce it because I don't want there to be a whole bunch of standing around between exercises. I want them to cycle through relatively quickly. Obviously, we've just done dumbbell complex 2.5 times through, so there's going to be a little bit of fatigue there. But as much as we can keep this going, then that's okay, that's just fine. If you find yourself in need of a break, you finish your air squats, you're like, there's no way I can do a burpee without ruining all my dental work on the floor, then be aware of your limitation there. Feel free to, feel free to just do a little bit of jogging on the spot when you're ready, then get into your burpees. Just try to avoid like laying down or hanging out in this position too much. Trying to walk around a little bit, even if all you're doing for rest is walking back and forth, get a little bit of active recovery in before you do the next set. We are only going to do this for about the next 6 minutes, because once again, I'm still talking too much. All right, guys, so we're going to get this started in about 10 seconds. We're going to start with 5, just 5 burpees, then 10 men climbers, and then 15 air squats, okay? So for the burpee, I'm going to give you a quick demo on a couple of different things. As soon as we start, or before we start here, for the burpee, you can do this style of burpee, or if you want to step it out, that's fine too. I kind of recommend that. That's probably what I'll go to because as it starts to get more difficult, that step back into burpee is much easier to cycle through. You don't have to jump into it. Okay, so let's do it in 3, 2, 1, and go. 5 burpees. 3, 4, one more. Okay, mountain climbers. So for this, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Awesome. Last thing, air squats. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 4 more. Just like I advised you, Another forward walk, back a couple steps. When you're ready, right into those burpees. Two more. Into the mountain climbers. Right back into those air squats. Try to catch your breath on the squats. Good job, guys. Good enough for 2 more rounds at least. As long as you keep moving. I'm going to take a couple steps forward, a couple steps back, and back into the burpees. I think I got one more. Mountain climbers. Let's do it, guys. I'm halfway done. Right into those squats. Keep the chest up. Hips go down, chest stays up. Good job, guys. Whew. We're running out of time. We've got time for at least one more round. As I finish walking forward and back. All right, 5 burpees, let's do it. Whew. Squats, 15 reps. Almost there. 15 seconds left. Whew. Okay, 2 more burpees and we're done. And that's time, my friends. A couple of deep breaths. I'll try to breathe less deep. I know it's probably coming through the mic real well, but you can tell I'm working hard at this, right? Walking backwards, forwards, catch your breath a little bit. Take a minute here after we finish those burpees. I was aiming for 5 rounds in 5 minutes. I don't think I quite got there. Started up on that 5th round. Well, that's okay. Once again, I feel exercised. Hopefully you do too. So we're going to start our cool down. In fact, it's already begun. We're going to start with 2 thumbs up, turn the palms up, squeeze those shoulder blades together. I'm going to keep walking backwards and forwards. Just like that. I'm rushing a little bit for the last 3. Big breath in and exhale. Okay, we're going to stay standing for the next drill as well. You're going to take 2 thumbs up because you did such a great job. You're going to keep your eyes fixed on this thumb right here. And you're going to look, follow that with your head. Then you're going to look at the other thumb. Let that arm go without your face. Then follow that one as well. Ooh, I'm pretty tight on that side. Burpees beat me up a little bit. I'm going to follow that one again. Open up that chest. See if we can turn my neck a little bit more on that side. Way more range of motion without that head following me. Probably tells us something about how tight my shoulders got. One more. It's already starting to feel better, so it's a good thing we did that one. Whenever you do burpees, or even dumbbell complexes, barbell complexes, the traps tend to fire up a little bit. It's good to get that neck unstuck from those shoulders. To that end, we're going to give us just a nice gentle neck stretch. I like to put my arm behind my back or just down to my side, kind of tuck it in there, either palm forward or back. Just get a nice gentle neck stretch. Your hand under your head here isn't a reef on your neck, it's just to offer a little bit of gentle support. Just kind of play with the direction your head's in. The same thing on the other side. On this side, I'm going to leave my palm up. Just get a little bit of a better stretch there. And back here, it feels like I'm bunching up in my traps. So just going to leave that palm up. Again, I'm not yanking on my neck. Just gently using my hand to kind of guide the stretch. Not going to a 10 out of 10 stretch, 3, 4, 5 out of 10. It is all you need. Good. Okay. We're a little long on the workout, so we're going to keep the cool down brief. Let's go right leg forward, left leg back. Scoot the back leg towards the wall behind you. Push the hips forward. Nice stretch in the front of that leg as that glute squeezed. Looking over that forward leg. Hand goes up in the air. Really reaching. Drop that hand down. Back leg towards the wall behind you. Drop that arm down if you need to feel a stretch. Hand goes up to the ceiling. Hand goes to the outside of the leg. I'm going to do this the lazy way this time, but more of a relaxed stretch to that back leg, the back of that front leg, pardon me. Passive stretch, I should say. Squeeze the glute, push hips forward, nice stretch in the front of the leg, over that forward leg. Hand goes up towards the ceiling. Hands down, drop the back leg towards the wall behind you. Hand goes up to the ceiling. Outside of the foot, pushing back into that hamstring stretch. Good. All right, we got a little bit of time left. Just going to open up that spine a little bit. Down on all fours. Hand goes to the hand, or elbow goes to the hand, pardon me. Then looking all the way up at the ceiling. We're going to do 3 of these on each side as you exhale. Same thing on the other side. Now we do the exact same idea. Oh, you know what? We're going to call that good because it's 8:30. All right, guys. Well, thanks once again for coming out and working hard. Once again, I've been Rich, PSP from CFB Edmonton, and I look forward to seeing you guys next time.